Unsung Murder Ballads discusses topics of a disturbing nature.
And we're not going to hold back on the graphic details and disturbing content.
So we do not recommend our podcast for children under the age of 13.
And while we respect the victims and their families involved in these tragic cases,
we're also going to be critical of mistakes that are made during the investigations.
And we're going to use dark humor to express ourselves now and then.
So with that said, this podcast may not be for everyone.
And that's okay. We're glad you're here checking us out.
And if you've made it this far, welcome to the Unsung Murder Ballads family. And follow us on Instagram at Unsung Murder Ballads if you want to talk to us.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Unsung Murder Ballads. I am Janice Dead.
I'm Jameson Dead.
And I'm Joyous Dead.
I couldn't remember the episode number, so I just skipped right over that part, so we'll keep rolling.
We're on episode number so fucking many?
137, somewhere in that ballpark. I don't even remember. So it's crazy.
We were at like 160. Girl, I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, we're still in the 130s. So, but
slay.
With that said, we are returning to the state of Massachusetts mostly for this case. We are
greatest state.
Agreed. Actually, in a lot of ways, Massachusetts really is an outstanding state. Like I was looking into a lot of other states, and despite the harsh winters, which are probably my biggest complaint, we have the best. We have one of, if not the best, we're in terms of medicine and healthcare, education. The winters suck, but it's worth it. It's expensive, but worth it.
Hell yeah.
But
we'll bitch about it endlessly, but
it's our God-given right.
Exactly.
The culture, actually, bitching and moaning.
Right. I mean, we're called massholes for a reason, right?
Amen.
Sure.
So today we're covering the case of Whitey Bulger or James Bulger.
Yeah. Nice.
So I know Joyous.
LFG.
I know Joyous. You've never really heard anything about him, despite not living too far from where a lot of these events took place.
Yeah, I'm so excited to learn more about my area.
Let that sink
today.
In that you were so close to that.
I know, it's crazy because it's very different now.
Yes, it is. And I'd be surprised. I should have tried going to some of these places, these landmarks, but I don't know. I just didn't have the time to drive. I hate to say it, drive into the Boston area today or in the past few weeks.
Can't blame you.
Yeah, I have a lot to do, and the traffic out there sucks.
Yeah, it does.
So I'm not going to do much of a teaser. I'm going to dive right into the beginning of the case. So here we go. James Joseph Bulger Jr. was the second of 6 children and was born on September 3rd, 1929. Whitey Bulger's father, James Sr., was originally from Harbor Grace, Newfoundland, from Irish parents. After settling in Everett, Massachusetts, James Sr. married a woman named Jane McCarthy, who was a first-generation Irish immigrant. So you can see there's a lot of Irish heritage here.
That's Boston.
The family moved to Boston shortly after Bulger's birth, and Bulger's father worked as a union laborer and occasionally a longshoreman, but he lost his arm in an industrial accident, and the family was reduced to poverty. So keep in mind, this is like the early 1900s, 1920s, 1930s, so you're looking at a time where there isn't a lot of safety nets there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and certainly no one other than Dad could earn money, so no one could take care of the family. That's tough. 6 kids? Fuck.
Yeah, right? So in May of 1938, the Mary Ellen McCormick Housing Project was opened in the neighborhood of South Boston, and the Bulger family moved in, and that's where the children would grow up. While his younger siblings, William and John, excelled at school, Bulger was drawn into the street, into like a life of crime. Early in his criminal career, local police gave Bulger the nickname Whitey because of how blonde his hair was. Bulger hated that name. He preferred to be called Jim or Jimmy. Now, Bulger developed a reputation as a thief and a street fighter who was fiercely loyal to South Boston, or Southie as those of us here call it. This led to him meeting more experienced criminals and finding more lucrative opportunities. In 1943, 14-year-old Bulger was arrested and charged with larceny. By then, he had joined a street gang known as the Shamrocks and would eventually be arrested for assault, forgery, and armed robbery.
The Shamrocks. I'm living.
I love it.
I know, right?
Isn't my gang the Leprechauns?
Well, it's like, remember, that'd be so funny. But it's like, I mean, remember West Side Story? Where they the Sharks and the Jets? Like, they weren't so creative.
Yeah. Yep.
It's true. They were a little more whimsical.
Yeah, right. Now it's just like whatever this street gang or whatever.
Yeah, bring back the Shamrocks.
Let's do it.
I say without listening to the rest of this story first.
Bulger was sentenced to juvenile reformatory for his crimes, and shortly after
We know how that goes.
Yeah, that doesn't work out too well.
And shortly after his release in April 1948, Bulger joined the U.S. Air Force, where he earned his high school diploma and trained as a mechanic. So, again, always that pattern. Get out of prison, go to the military for a little bit, learn a skill, come back and use it against society.
Yeah.
He received his honorable discharge in 1952 and returned to Massachusetts. In 1956, Bulger would serve his first term in a federal prison at Atlanta Penitentiary for armed robbery and truck hijacking.
Oh, I bet she learned how to hijack in the army.
Well, here's another interesting thing that the government did for Whitey Bulger, or did to Whitey Bulger. While he was in the Atlanta Penitentiary, he was used as a human subject in a CIA-sponsored MK Ultra program. And this is no joke.
English, please.
Yeah, this is no joke. This is almost too crazy to believe. Inmates had been recruited by deception and were told that they were helping to find a cure for schizophrenia.
Oh my God, I heard about this. Holy shit. Wait, I actually know.
Right. And what was actually being done is they were being used for research for the possibility of mind control. Evidence of these
So fucked up.
Evidence of these experiments were later confirmed when CIA documentation emerged, and Bulger and 18 other inmates, all of whom volunteered in exchange for reduced sentences, were given LSD and other drugs over an 18-month period.
Yeah, I heard they just like basically tortured him by giving him high doses of LSD and then tripping him out and then trying to control him.
Right, and not just him, a lot of people.
Right.
Fucking crazy.
Like that shit will crack a person. That shit, it's crazy they were trying. LSD will send people into psychosis.
Yeah, you're doing the opposite of what they said they were trying to solve.
Yep.
Yep. Over the years of his incarceration, Bulger was transferred to numerous prisons, including Alcatraz and Leavenworth, before being granted parole in 1965 after serving 9 years. After his release, Bulger worked as a janitor and a construction worker before realizing there's no money in that, and then he became a bookmaker and a loan shark under the mobster Donald Killeen, whose gang, the Killeens, had dominated South Boston for over 20 years. And I just want to say, if I'm going to be a mob boss, I'm not using my last name as the name of our gang. Just kind of dumb.
It's definitely it's a show of power, saying I'm going to use my own last name and you're still not going to stop me.
Yeah, I mean, sure, but you certainly put a target all over you.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So the Killeens were led by 3 brothers, Donnie, Kenny, and Eddie, along with a man by the name of Billy O'Sullivan and another man by Jack Curran. Their base, their headquarters, was the Transit Cafe in South Boston, which would later become the Triple O's under Bulger. In 1971, the younger Killeen brother, Kenny, allegedly shot and mauled a man named Michael Dwyer, a member of a rival gang in the Mullen Gang. A gang war literally resulted, leading to a string of killings throughout Boston and the surrounding suburbs. The Killeens quickly found themselves outgunned and outmaneuvered by the younger Mullens. It was during this turf war that Bulger committed his first murder, and his target was a Mullen member named Paul McGonigal. Bulger walked right up on this guy and shot him right between the eyes.
No.
Holy shit.
Okay.
But there was only one problem. The man he shot wasn't Paul McGonigal. It was
Uh-oh.
it was his brother Donald.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Fucked.
So Bulger went straight to the home of his mentor, Billy O'Sullivan, and told him what happened. O'Sullivan allegedly then said to him, "Don't worry about it. He wasn't healthy anyway. He smoked. He would have gotten lung cancer." Unquote.
Wow, what a take.
I honestly wouldn't expect anything less.
I mean, they're mobsters, right? I mean, I can
Yeah,
almost
they
hear...
don't give
if this was in New York, I could hear the New York accent. Instead, I
a-
gotta...
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
Crazy.
Sitting around a dinner table at 2 a.m.
right? So, in retaliation, the original target, Paul McGonigal, ambushed and murdered O'Sullivan on the assumption that he had actually been the one responsible for his brother's murder.
Oh, that sucks.
So Whitey Bulger, realizing that he's on the losing side of this war, secretly approached the leader of the Winter Hill Gang, Howie Winter, and claimed that he could end the war by killing the Killeen leadership. So basically, Bulger decides to turn on his own gang. So on May...
Interesting strat.
Well, you're going to find that Bulger is really good at saving Bulger.
I mean, I know that he was a criminally successful at the least, so
I mean, they did
I'm
make
sure
a
that's
movie.
where this is going.
They did make a movie out of him where Johnny Depp played Whitey Bulger, so there's that.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, it was so good. I loved it. So on May 13th, 1972, Donald Killeen was gunned down outside his home in Framingham, Massachusetts. To bring an end to the dispute, a meeting was mediated by Howie Winter and Joseph Russo, a capo with the Patriarca crime family, which was, or still is, the mafia out of Providence, Rhode Island.
Mm.
At a sit-down in a nightclub in Boston, South Ends, the two gangs joined forces, and Howie Winter became the overall boss. So the Killeens and the Mullins no longer exist. It's now the Winter Hill Gang under Howie Winter.
Ah.
Mm-hmm.
Is that why it's called Winter Hill?
I would assume I'm assuming it's a coincidence that Howie Winter became the leader of the Winter Hill Gang, because I think Winter Hill in Boston is not named after him.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be curious. I'm gonna have to research that later.
That'd be really funny if it was named after him, but you know what? Who knows? The way politics worked back then, he probably made a really big money contribution to name that part of the city or after himself.
For sure. Oh, nope, apparently it takes its hill from a hill that's called Winter Hill.
All right, see, that's so it's a coincidence.
All right.
Or Howie Winter renamed himself, you know?
Yes, I am named after this hill.
So after the 1972 truce, Bulger and the Mullins were in control of South Boston's criminal underworld. Over the years that followed, Bulger began to remove opposition by persuading Winter to sanction the killings of those who stepped out of line.
Oh.
In 1974, Bulger formed a partnership with a fellow mobster named Steve Flemmi, and they were both enforcers for the Winter Hill Gang. During the 1970s, the Winter Hill Gang partnered with Anthony Fat Tony Salua in a lucrative horse racing fixing scheme. They essentially bribed or threatened jockeys and or drugged horses in order to predetermine the outcome of the races along the
That's
East Coast.
incredible.
Oh my.
That is incredible. That's just absurd.
You don't really think about that shit, and yet it's so obvious, you know?
Is this at the raceway north of Boston?
It's all up and down the East Coast, so they were doing it everywhere.
Oh shit, that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm sure it happened a lot up here, though. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Bulger and Flemmi's role in the scheme involved placing bets with bookmakers around the country. Then, in late August or early September 1974, Bulger and an accomplice reportedly set fire to an elementary school in Wellesley, Massachusetts.
Oh.
Wait, hold up.
crap.
I just realized that earlier when you said he became a bookmaker because it was more secretive. You didn't mean that he was making books. That he wasn't like
Oh my God.
becoming a bookbinder. I gotta go, man.
Wow.
That's
Yes.
We were talking about a different kind of book.
Apparent-
Right. Yes, I'm with it now.
Oh my goodness. You know, Joyous, I love how innocent your mind is sometimes.
Just thinking about books, man. I'm
You're
thinking
like-
about
You're like,
betting.
I'm wondering how much they pay a guy to glue pages inside a book cover.
Yeah, I'm like, why were they paying bookmakers so much more than like these laborers? I don't know. It's weird.
Wow. All right. So that was fantastic. Okay, so
Anyway,
in all right, so in late August, early September 1974, Bulger and an accomplice reportedly set fire to an elementary school in Wellesley, Massachusetts.
that's fucked. Leave the schools alone.
Oh, just wait. It's for the worst reason you can imagine.
No.
They did this to intimidate U.S. District Court Judge Wendell Garrity Jr. over his mandated plan to desegregate schools in the city of Boston.
Oh my God.
Fuck. That's really bad.
Basically, the plan was they were going to provide busing to black students so they could attend white schools. And this didn't go over well in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Then, a year later, on September 8th, 1975, Bulger and an unidentified person threw a Molotov cocktail into the birthplace of John F. Kennedy in Brookline in retaliation for Senator Ted Kennedy's vocal support of school desegregation.
Wow.
Yeah. I know we like to think that racism isn't quite as prevalent in the North as it was in the South. It was definitely there.
Oh, but it was absolutely
And-
that whole
and
the
still
whole
is.
story that goes down there with busing. So it's something we learned about a lot in school, going to school in Boston, close to where this happened.
Oh, okay. It's funny. They never covered that when I was in school.
When I was in college, they did,
I
but that's because it
don't.
was our neighborhood.
I was gonna
Right?
say
Like,
I
Southie
didn't.
was my neighborhood in college. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I went to school, college in a different city. So yeah, I didn't. I didn't get any of that. I mean, I knew about it,
yeah.
but you know. So in 1975, a man named Tommy King, who worked at Triple O's, had a heated discussion with Bulger, and during this discussion, Tommy had made a fist in anger, and Jimmy
You
saw
idiot.
and Jimmy saw that.
Yeah, you're gone now.
Tommy would later get into a car with Bulger and his associates, and he would never be seen alive again.
Yeah, I saw that one coming.
Later that same night he killed Tommy, Bulger killed a man named Buddy Leonard and left him in Tommy's car just to confuse authorities.
Whoa.
Fucking weird, right? Just kill a
Yeah.
random person just to, as like the weirdest red herring. Like, what?
Yeah, that's really fucked.
What no one else in the underworld knew, however, was that in 1971, the FBI had approached Whitey Bulger, and they attempted to recruit him as an informant on an ongoing effort to gain information about the Patriarca crime family. Special Agent John Connolly, who grew up in Bulger's neighborhood, was assigned to approach him and make the pitch. However, Connolly failed to win Bulger's trust.
Yeah, I'd be shitting my pants if I had to do that.
For real.
I mean, I guess I can see that. I mean, you're an FBI agent. You're generally okay. You know, they don't really want to bring down the FBI onto their organizations normally.
True.
So 3 years later, now we're going to jump ahead here. 3 years later, and we are going to jump around a little bit as I finish off certain stories as we tell bigger, longer lasting parts of this. But 3 years later, when Bulger partnered with Steve Flemmi, he was unaware that Flemmi was already an informant for the FBI. And he had already been one since the beginning of his criminal career in 1965. So,
Damn.
although it
Rats
is
everywhere.
it's crazy how many rats there were in the mafia, at least the non-New York Italian mafia.
Right. Good thing.
It is a good thing, yes. Although it is a documented fact that Bulger soon followed Flemmi's example, to become an FBI informant, exactly how and why continues to be debated. Regardless of all that, though, Bulger began a symbiotic relationship with Connolly, where Connolly kept him out of jail, and Bulger aimed the FBI at his own rivals, in particular, the Patriarca underboss Gennaro and Giulio.
Oh, he's making a power play.
It was a brilliant move on Bulger's part, because it was mutually beneficial.
Right.
So Steve Flemmi later recalled, quote, "Me and Whitey gave the feds shit, and they gave us gold," unquote. Typical mob mentality. I love it.
For real.
So during the 1970s and 80s, the organized crime program of the FBI considered the mafia a greater threat than all other organized crime groups in the U.S. combined, and targeted the mafia as a national priority.
They were doing a lot of bad shit.
They really were. I mean, I don't remember what years John Gotti was in charge, but the wars over there in New York were awful. So Boston didn't get quite as bad. Although the Boston office of the FBI was aware of the Winter Hill Gang, the Bureau perceived the gang to be significantly less dangerous than the Patriarca family. FBI Supervisor John Morris was put in charge of the organized crime squad at the FBI's Boston field office in December of '77. Morris not only proved himself unable to rein in Connolly's protection of Bulger, he eventually began assisting him with keeping Bulger out there.
Wow.
Under pressure from superiors to cultivate informants who could be used against the mafia, Connolly and Morris falsely portrayed Bulger and Flemmi as invaluable sources in order to advance their own careers.
Damn.
Connolly and Morris convinced their superiors that Bulger and Flemmi were indispensable as informants, as they took down more members of the Patriarca family, and the FBI protected Bulger and Flemmi by shielding them from prosecutions for crimes they were committing.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
In exchange for the agents' protection, Bulger and Flemmi bribed Connolly and Morris during frequent meetings. In February of 1979, federal prosecutors indicted 21 members of the Winter Hill Gang, including boss Howie Winter and numerous members of his inner circle, for fixing horse races. Bulger and Flemmi were originally going to be part of the indictment, but Connolly and Morris stepped in and persuaded prosecutors to drop the charges against them at the last minute.
Whoa.
Yeah. So at this point, Bulger and Flemmi have stepped into a power vacuum, and they took over leadership of the Winter Hill Gang, and they transferred its headquarters to the Lancaster Street Garage in Boston's West End near the Boston Garden. In January of 1980, the FBI were aware of Bulger's headquarters at that garage, but they failed to investigate or inform other law enforcement agencies of that change. So,
Naturally.
you know, right? They were so good at that, right? So the
So good at communicating.
So the Massachusetts State Police discovered the location by chance while they were investigating an auto theft ring, and they found that Bulger and Flemmi were openly associating with other organized crime figures while at that garage.
Damn, they're just being pretty bold, aren't they?
Because they
they figured they've got it made, so they can just do what they want.
The FBI's protecting them. Are you kidding me? They're going to do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
So police then targeted Bulger and Flemmi in an investigation into gambling and loan sharking. And between March and July of 1980, state troopers carried out surveillance from an adjacent building before being granted a warrant to install listening devices on the premises. However, these electronic eavesdropping devices gathered no evidence because Connolly told Bulger and Flemmi that their garage was bugged.
Yup.
Yep.
That's great.
So the gang ceased using the garage for a time after learning that the meeting place was compromised, and the state police resumed surveillance on Bulger and Flemmi in September of 1980 because they were following the two to a pair of phone booths nearby in Dorchester. So in autumn of 80, the police were granted a warrant to bug that payphone, but as soon as they did, the two stopped using the payphones. And it doesn't take a genius to figure out why.
Right.
So police became suspicious that Bulger was being tipped off about their investigations, but they were unsure of whom and how. So they ended their investigation into them unsuccessfully in 1981. So in November of 1980, going back a little bit, Bulger and Flemmi helped the FBI plant a microphone in the headquarters of Jerry and Julio of the Patriarca crime family. This bug gathered enough information and evidence to bring down the leadership of the mafia in Boston. So by 1980,
That's something.
it's
That's
huge.
A product. All right.
Yeah,
sure.
right. He actually did some good in the world, right?
Yes, even if it was just for his own benefit.
But yeah, I mean, exactly. It wasn't altruistic, but at least it did something.
Right. Wouldn't expect altruism from him anyway.
That's very true. In 1982, Agent Morris was completely compromised to the point that he literally had Bulger purchase plane tickets so that his girlfriend could go down to Georgia to visit him while he was training in FBI training courses.
Damn.
How fucked up.
That's insane.
That is batshit. Yeah.
I want my girlfriend to come see me. Mr. Mobster, will you please buy me a plane ticket? What?
Yeah, it's
Please fly
bad
my
when you have to
girlfriend
rely
down.
on the mobster.
It's so stupid. So, there was a Winter Hill Gang associate named John Callahan, and this guy was fired from his role as president of a group called the World J Ally. It was a betting company that operated out of Florida and Connecticut. So imagine what like FanDuel would be back in the 70s.
Yep.
He had lost his license to operate this gambling business in Connecticut due to his associations with organized crime.
Mm-hmm.
So Callahan then conspired with former FBI agent named H. Paul Rico, who had served as Callahan's head of security for this group, and a man by the name of Richard Donovan, who was another former president of this WJA group, to regain control of the company and try to buy it from the owner in Tulsa, Oklahoma, named Roger Wheeler. Callahan is not stupid, and he understands how the mafia works. So he approaches Bulger and Flemmi and an associate of theirs named John Martorano, and he offers them $10,000 a week.
Holy shit.
If the Winter
Especially
Hill...
back then.
Right. And I mean, that just shows you how lucrative this business is. And he offers them this money if the Winter Hill Gang can protect their group from interference by the mafia, which of course they agree to. However, Wheeler refused to sell the company. And the group, Callahan, Bulger, Flemmi, and Martorano, agreed that Wheeler had to be killed.
Dang.
In January of 1981, the Winter Hill Gang members met with a man by the name of Brian Halloran, who was a member of the Winter Hill Gang, and they asked him if he would go and kill Wheeler, but Halloran declined. However, days later, he would take a payment of $20,000 to remain silent about the planned murder, which is unlike
Damn.
Bulger. Yeah, I'm surprised Bulger didn't kill him for saying no.
Right.
In March of 1981, Wheeler, maybe sensing a change in the air or something, sold the company once there were questions about ties to organized crime. So fearing that Wheeler was on the verge of reporting the skimming and all the other legal activities, Bulger ordered his murder. So on May 27, 1981, Martorano, wearing a golf cap, sunglasses, and a fake beard, killed Wheeler by shooting him in the face in a parking lot in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Shit.
After Connolly told Bulger in July of 82 that the FBI wanted to question Callahan in connection with Wheeler's murder, he and Flemmi decided they had to also kill Callahan.
Shit.
So on August 1st, 1982, Martorano killed Callahan by luring him into a car and shooting him in the head during a meeting in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It's fucking crazy. This is the mob, though.
Yeah, that's the mob. I watched a little bit of The Sopranos. I get the thing.
Sopranos was
Don't
so
be in
good.
the mob because they'll turn on a dime and kill you.
My advice, one of the best mob movies is Donnie Brasco. With basically, it's got Al Pacino and Johnny Depp. It is so good. It's based on a true story about an FBI agent who infiltrated the mafia. So good.
Mm-hmm.
Highly recommend this
Oh,
one.
that does sound interesting.
So Maturano left Callahan's body in the trunk of his car in a garage at Miami International Airport.
Oh my God, what?
Who knows? It's fucking weird. It was found because literally blood was dripping from the trunk. Like, the guy took no precautions whatsoever.
Oh, gross.
In 1982, a South Boston cocaine dealer named Edward Brian Halloran, not related to the other Halloran, known on the streets as Balloon Head because he had a large cranium.
That's
Rockin'. That's my guy. That's my Coke guy.
Balloon Head. I gotta get my Coke from
Good old
Balloon
balloon
Head.
head.
Yeah.
Balloony.
He was approached by the FBI and stated that he had witnessed Bulger and Fleming murder somebody. So, of course, Connolly reports this back to Bulger and Fleming and basically briefed him on what Halloran was saying, specifically his claims to having participated in the Tulsa, Oklahoma murder of Roger Wheeler. So Connolly reported that Halloran was shopping this information to the FBI for a chance for him and his family to be placed in witness protection and, taken out of Boston. Soon after, on May 11th, 1982, Bulger, Fleming, and another associate last name Weeks were tipped off that Halloran had returned to South Boston.
Ooh.
After arriving on the scene, Weeks staked out a place called Anthony's Pier 4 restaurant where Halloran was eating. He was with a friend named Michael Donahue, and he was from Dorchester, and they just happened to run into each other at that restaurant. And unfortunately for Donahue, he offered to give Halloran a ride home.
Oh, God.
So he dies too.
So as Donahue and Halloran drove out of the parking lot, Weeks signaled Bulger by stating, "The balloon is in the air," over a walkie-talkie, which is hilarious because the balloon head.
That is funny.
Bulger then pulled up alongside the car in a 1975 Chevrolet Malibu with another man, and they were armed with MAC-10 submachine guns.
Okay, well, that's not the most mob thing I've ever heard. I don't know what is.
Well, Bulger himself was carrying a .30 caliber carbine rifle.
Holy crap.
What does that mean? Is that a big gun or something?
It's a fairly large gun. Yeah, these are going to blow big holes. Yeah. So both gunmen were in disguises. Bulger was wearing an afro wig and a fake mustache.
Oh my God.
That's fantastic.
And the other man was wearing a ski mask. Now, in the disguise, Bulger apparently tried to resemble a person by the name of Jimmy Flynn, who was a hoodlum with whom Halloran had been arguing with.
Oh, interesting.
So after Bulger yelled out his name, Brian, both shooters opened fire and sprayed Halloran and Donahue's cars the car they're in with bullets. Donahue was shot in the head and killed instantly. The second gunman's firearm allegedly jammed after the initial volley of shots, and as Halloran stumbled out of the car, still alive, Bulger turned his car around, he pulled a U-turn, and continued shooting Halloran until his body was, quote, bouncing off the ground, unquote, which is a quote from that Weeks guy.
From what?
The Weeks, the guy that was on the other end of the walkie-talkie.
Oh, yeah.
So although he was shot approximately 20 times, Halloran lived long enough to identify his attacker as the Jimmy Flynn guy.
Oh my God.
Which is hilarious. And Balloonhead Halloran here died in the hospital of blood loss.
Damn.
Now, Flynn remained the prime suspect in this until 1999 when Weeks agreed to cooperate with investigators and finally identified that it was Whitey Bulger who was one of the shooters. Which is so crazy.
Damn. Wild.
So shortly after the shootings, Bulger and Weeks returned to the scene to recover one of the hubcaps from their car while the police were still there investigating.
That's fucking
What?
nuts.
Yeah, the balls.
Yeah.
The following day, Bulger, Weeks, and Flemmy, who expressed his disappointment that, he hadn't gotten to take part in the killings, inspected the bullet-ridden car at a tow lot. Bulger instructed Weeks to dispose of the weapons used in the killings by throwing them in Marine Bay. Now, the families of Donahue and Halloran eventually filed a civil lawsuit against the U.S. government after they learned that Connolly had informed Bulger of Halloran's informant status.
Yeah, as they should.
Right, and the families were
To the government, yes.
right, and the families were both awarded several $1 million in damages. However, that was overturned on appeal, which is so fucked up.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, so fucked up. The government's not going to let you sue the government if they can avoid it.
No, that ain't that the truth.
Yeah. In the summer of 1983, tensions between the Winter Hill Gang and what was left of the Patriarca family escalated to an all-time high. Most notably, an employee from Coin-O-Matic, a cash laundering vending machine company owned by the Patriarca family, was kidnapped on the job.
Yikes.
The Boston Police Department, operating on a tip, raided a butcher shop in South Boston that was co-owned by Bulger and 2 other Winter Hill members. They found this guy hanging from a beef rack, having been severely tortured and held for more than 6 days.
Oh, fuck.
This victim never testified, even though law enforcement had hoped he would cooperate when they offered him witness protection. But
Did he survive?
He did, and he never said a word.
Oh, it's just petrified. So damaged from that, I'm sure.
Well, if he's part of the mafia, there is omerta, that vow that you'll never speak of it. So.
Oh, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's the bigger one, yeah. So over the next few months, 3 low-level Winter Hill Gang soldiers were also executed, and of course this is probably retribution for that kidnapping. The conflict shined a large spotlight on Morris's, the FBI's head here, his incompetence in terms of managing, and it triggered an internal investigation within the FBI.
Oh, wow.
After the 1983 RICO indictments of the Patriarca crime family, their operation was in shambles. Bulger and Flemmy stepped into this power vacuum and took control of essentially all organized crime in the Boston area.
Damn.
At this point, Bulger starts doing some bold shit.
I'm sure he's mad with power.
In 1984, Bulger acquired a place called Stippo's Liquor Mart by forcing the store's owner, Stephen Stippo Rakes, to sell him the business at gunpoint for $67,000.
Holy crap.
Fuck.
Bulger renamed the place South Boston Liquor Mart and used the back room of the business for his gang's primary headquarters. And he also forced local bars to buy their alcohol from him, which blows my fucking mind.
Just anything to get more money, right?
Basically.
Or to show his power, really, in the neighborhood.
It's a kind of a combination of both, exactly.
Yeah.
So the Winter Hill Gang also used an unoccupied house owned by a man by the name of Michael Nee, who was the brother of a Bulger associate named Patrick Nee, which was located at 799 East 3rd Street in South Boston, and it's here that they took wealthy criminals to extort them.
Oh, my.
Right? One such criminal who came to Bulger's attention was named Arthur Bucky Barrett, a safe cracker and thief who was allegedly one of 6 men who stole $1.5 million from the Depositors Trust Bank in Medford.
Damn. That's quite an impressive heist, I will say.
Right? Especially back then.
Yeah. They're holding that much cash? That's crazy.
Right? Nowadays, you'd be lucky to walk out with a few thousand.
Right. I mean, $1 million? How much does that weigh?
I mean, I'm assuming that would be like a pallet. Depending upon the size of the bill, I'm picturing like a pallet. No, I guess maybe not a pallet. That might just be like 2 duffel bags.
Can our criminal listeners let us know?
I mean, unless they're all ones, then, maybe it's a pallet full of...
I'll do the logistics later. I'll let you know.
All right.
I have the answer.
Go ahead.
$1 million when held in $100 bills weighs approximately 22 pounds.
Oh,
If
that's
the $1
not...
million in single dollar bills, it would weigh about 2,204 pounds.
Wow.
All right. So 100...
Problems of scale. They're always fascinating. Good to know.
Yeah, appreciate that. I like the
Yep.
I like the big difference. Like that's a pallet's
Yeah,
worth
right.
of fucking shit. A ton.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That was the information that I was desiring. I appreciate you for that.
She's like, I'm done with the rest of this podcast. We're good.
Yeah, I mean, you've
Sign
told me
off
about the
now.
logistics. We all know what my ass is interested in.
Right.
Yeah.
Math and numbers.
Give me the numbers. Tell me how they did it.
Barrett had refused to give Bulger a cut of the money from that heist. And instead, he had been paying the Patriarca family for protection. But guess what? They're not around anymore. So Bulger asked Weeks to lure Barrett to a secret meeting, and on November 30th, 1983, Barrett arrived at the East 3rd Street home for a supposed diamond sale. So when Barrett arrived to that house for this diamond sale, Bulger showed up and drew a machine gun and yelled, "Bucky Barrett, freeze." Bulger and Flemmy then chained Barrett to a chair, and over several hours, Barrett directed the gangsters to the location of $57,000 that he had hidden in cash. After Bulger and Flemmy and Weeks returned to the house with the money, they stood Barrett up, and Bulger announced, "Bucky's going to go downstairs and lie down for a while." As Barrett was walked down the stairs to the basement, Bulger shot him in the back of the head without any warning, causing Barrett's body to fall forward, hitting Flemmy, and the two of them tumbled down the stairs together.
Oh, shit.
Flemmy was reportedly not very happy about having to fall down a flight of stairs with a dead body.
Yeah.
Oh, weird. Why?
I don't know. I mean, that was something I used to do as a kid every weekend. We turned him
You
into
loved
sleds.
it. You always talk about how much you loved that.
Yeah, I mean, it was so much fun. It was like sledding. Wow, that took a dark turn.
Yeah, it did.
Oh, man. Happens.
Oh, man. All right. So Flemmy then removed Barrett's teeth in the belief that this would prevent later identification. All the while, Bulger was...
Well,
it's partially true, I guess. Back in the
yeah.
80s, I guess. So
Yeah,
while
they didn't know how to write in the 80s. They couldn't write anything down.
Right. And well, they also couldn't, maybe, I mean, they didn't have DNA, but, you do have blood samples, you do have blood types, you do have fingerprints, but, let's pull the teeth because that's the easy thing to do, right?
Right. Exactly.
So all the while that Flemmy's down there doing this, Whitey Bulger is upstairs reclining on a couch waiting for them to finish up.
Oh, just vibing.
So Weeks and that other person, Patrick Nee, dug the hole in the basement, and then that's where they buried Barrett. Afterwards, Patrick Nee was upset that Barrett had been killed in the house as he was expecting only an extortion to have taken place. And the whole time, the owner of the house, Michael Nee, had been vacationing in Florida and was completely unaware that someone was murdered and buried in his basement.
Well, that's one hell of a thing to come back to.
Yeah, fucking hate that.
So during this time, Bulger was cultivating a reputation as a Robin Hood type gangster because he was giving out turkeys at Thanksgiving, and he protected South Boston from police and outsiders, and he kept the working class Irish American enclave free of narcotics. And yet at the same time, he was making a ton of money selling drugs.
Mm-hmm.
So Bulger became involved in the narcotics trade in 1981, but upheld a pretense that he did not partake in drug trafficking. He profited from the distribution of marijuana and cocaine, but he prohibited dealers from selling heroin within the South Boston area. During the mid-1980s, Bulger began to summon drug dealers from all around Boston to his headquarters. Flanked by Weeks and Flemmy, Bulger would inform each dealer that he had been offered a substantial sum in return for their assassinations. He then
Damn.
he then demanded a large cash payment as the price for not killing them, which is one hell of a scam, right?
Yeah, for real.
Like, I've been offered money to kill you, so I'm either going to kill you or you're going to give me money right now. That's fucking brilliant.
Mhm.
And what are you going to do? Call the cops? You're a drug dealer,
Double-edged sword there.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Bulger also required that all narcotics traffickers in South Boston pay tribute to the Winter Hill Gang, and he and Flemmi often obtained a share of profits from their drug shipments brought into the South Boston piers. Eventually, however, the massive profits of drugs proved irresistible, and Bulger became actively involved in importing cocaine into Boston from Florida. So he became more involved, I should say. Bulger, of course, utilized his contacts in the FBI to help him take control of the drug trade, which is, again, crazy that the FBI keeps turning blind eyes to this. In April of 1983, he learned that Charlestown drug smuggler Joseph Joe Murray was importing marijuana into South Boston without the approval of the Winter Hill Gang, and in retaliation, he tipped off Connolly about Murray's operation. Murray and 6 others were arrested when the FBI and the DEA seized 15 tons of marijuana.
Wow.
That's a lot of marijuana, because that's just not exactly
is.
heavy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Not a very dense substance
right.
as far as substances go.
That's like a warehouse full of marijuana.
Yeah, for real.
Sorry. I'm just now imagining how much marijuana that would actually fucking be. Oh my
I'm
God.
visualizing it. Mount Marijuana.
Afterwards, Murray commenced monthly payments to Bulger for the privilege of storing his contraband in South Boston and for the protection of the Winter Hill Gang. When Murray later retired from drug trafficking, Bulger demanded a $500,000 severance package from him.
What?
Yeah, you can't just leave a criminal organization.
Damn.
Although Bulger profited from the narcotics trade, he and Flemmi denied to the FBI handlers that they were involved in the drug business at all. And Connolly strongly defended his informants from his superiors in the FBI against such allegations. In the spring of 1983, the DEA, the Massachusetts State Police, and the Quincy Police Department, as well as the U.S. Attorney's Office in Boston, launched an operation called Operation Beans, which is the stupidest name I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And this was a sophisticated investigation into Bulger and Flemmi's drug operations. Connolly learned of the investigation when a high-ranking FBI official in Washington contacted the Boston office to inquire why 2 of their informants were being targeted by another federal agency. When the DEA sought the assistance of the FBI in the investigation, the FBI declined to participate or close either Bulger or Flemmi as informants. In 1984, the assistant U.S. attorney was granted permission to wiretap Bulger, and the DEA inserted a listening device in a windowsill of a condominium where Bulger lived. Basically, they picked up on very little other than the sounds of his own television. Because he's not stupid. Obviously, Connolly's telling him, right?
Right, obviously.
Drug agents then installed another bug in a panel in Bulger's car. This device also failed to collect evidence, as the car radio was turned up so loud it would drown out any conversation that was happening. And then days after it being planted, Bulger took the car to a garage in South Boston and had a mechanic completely disassemble the door.
Damn.
Wow.
When he discovered the small microphone hidden inside, DEA agents pulled up and retrieved the equipment. They literally just walked up and like, all right, we'll take that back.
That's insane.
So funny. Flemmi later testified that Connolly had provided him and Bulger with all this information, obviously. And although numerous drug traffickers were indicted as a result of Operation Beans, Bulger and Flemmi escaped any prosecution on narcotics until 1995. So we're probably about halfway through. Do you want to break this into 2 parts?
We're only about halfway through. Yeah, we probably should.
And that's where we're going to end it for this week. This is going to be a two-parter. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. We have a lot more to cover. So, I mean, Whitey Bulger isn't
Damn, this
exactly...
guy did so much bad shit.
It's crazy. And right in our backyards, like right in our stomping grounds.
Genuinely
It's
in my
so good.
backyard.
It's so, yeah, exactly. Literally around the corner from you.
Yeah, for real.
Too funny. All right. So once again, thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll see you again soon. I am Janice Dead.
I'm Jameson Dead.
And I'm Joyous Dead.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.